Nicholas Moreano is amazing. Should we go to Nicholas Moreano?
We should go to Nick. Joins the program now. Nick, I know you want to start with the kicking game, which I appreciate. That's a good move. What do you want to start with here with Cairo Santos?
Yeah, let's start with what just happened on the blocked field goal, you guys. I asked Cairo Santos in the locker room just what he can tell us from his vantage point, obviously, in the post-game locker room. And he starts off by saying part of it's just unlucky. Getting the trajectory of the ball over the line, but said that the Vikings were getting penetration. And look, he kicks a certain way. He acknowledged that. And that's resulted in a lot of success. And if things are happening, he's got to work on making them change. And then Cairo was asked to follow up if he's been working on his trajectory, especially with given how last week ended against Green Bay. And Cairo said, like, it's hard for him to go and change because he doesn't see a miss hit or a low kick right now, but he does have a more piercing ball that, piercing ball flight, I should say, to help make kicks in windy situations. And the wind wasn't a factor in this one, you guys, but he's always looking to maximize the height on his kicks. But it was another obviously blocked one in this game, and Bears losing by 3 points today to the Minnesota Vikings obviously doesn't help.
Nick, real
but
quick,
also, yeah.
Sorry, just not to cut you off, but to add context to this, Kaylin Kaler was in the Vikings locker room, and she said just talked to several Vikings about the field goal block. Santos' low kicks came up again. Vikings emphasized getting an inside push because they knew they could get a block if they did. Safety Theo Jackson said, "We don't really cover too many kickers that have this type of low trajectory."
Well, and also, real quick, the the one he hit to tie, honestly, was almost blocked. They gave up more penetration. This time, I want to say through the B or the C gap. And honestly, I mean, if you look at the replay, it barely, I don't know who got through, but it barely got over his head or his hand.
And Nick, Darnell Wright replaced Braxton Jones on the field goal team. Is that right?
Yeah, so on the one that was successful, after the blocked field goal, you had Braxton Jones there, but on the made field goal, that was Darnell Wright, and Herb Howard noticed that right when that happened. So I got a chance to talk to Darnell Wright to see, what's the decision behind that? Like, why are you in that spot instead of Braxton Jones, who was on the last field goal, which was, a yard further back? And Darnell Wright said, that's a game plan thing, so that's what we've been doing. He didn't want to really go into it because it would reveal too much, but I said that wasn't a surprise by him. I asked him, was it a surprise by you to be in that situation? He said, no, not at all. So, I don't know if the Bears are working on things to see, because it looked like that blocked field goal from my vantage point. It looked like Braxton Jones kind of gave up some pressure on that one. The Vikings defender was able to get his hand up, and you block that field goal. And then the next one, Darnell Wright's in the place of Braxton Jones, and you make that field goal attempt.
So that's super interesting that at least I guess Richard Hightower's making moves to try and rectify the situation that other teams are seeing on the fly. Kind of interesting that didn't happen before the game. But let's move around the locker room, Nick. The Keenan connection with Caleb, the DJ connection with Caleb. What were the wide receivers saying after the game today?
Yeah, no, I mean, let's start with Keenan Allen. He spoke a little bit right before leaving the locker room, but just noticed how quickly Caleb was getting the ball out of his hands. And I think that was a really common theme from not only the receivers, but even Darnell Wright mentioned that as well, but said that Caleb was just seeing the defense. And he also told Keenan Allen to just kind of stick to the script. I think that goes back to how Thomas Brown prepared this offense for this game. And you actually mentioned Keenan that on one of the passes that he dropped, it was, I believe, one of the third down plays where Keenan has the ball hit him in his hands, but he just wasn't ready. Keenan said he didn't stick to the script on that specific play. And I think on the very next play, Caleb on fourth down scrambles to go get the first. But he said that Caleb, I think, did a really good job of, getting the ball out quickly, sticking to the script, and just seeing the defense. And he was also asked Keenan, what did he learn about Caleb, just to in this game? And he said resilience. He's a ball player. When we need him to make a play, he's going to make a play. And he's a great guy to have when the game is on the line. So pretty strong words from the veteran wide receiver talking about the rookie quarterback. And like DJ Moore, he also spoke glowingly about Caleb Williams, understanding where to put the ball in the hots, and everybody was just on their jobs today. And I think that spoke glowingly of how the offense overall looked. Guys, the 4th and 4 play. DJ Moore was asked about that, where the Bears looked discombobulated. They were late to get the play out. It ended up being an incomplete pass to Keenan Allen. They almost, it was almost a delayed game. And like Cairo Santos and the field goal unit was coming on the field. DJ Moore was asked about that, and he said, I don't know what was going on there. We were wondering why Cairo was running out there. This is DJ Moore. And he said there was miscommunication. He said we got it fixed. I don't know if you got it fixed if you didn't convert on down, but he was also asked DJ like what the issue was on that play, and DJ said he wasn't sure. We'd have to go back and look at it tape. But he just said he saw Cairo and the field goal unit on the field, and he looked at them and wondered, were they the offense about to go off the field? So the last question on that is like, is that frustrating? To have a big play like that come down to some miscommunication, you don't execute. He said it's not frustrating, but he's just wondering why not everyone is on the same page. So a little insight on what was kind of going on in that key 4th down play.
Nick, did you get a chance to talk to anybody from the front seven, in particular the D-line? Did they talk about the pressuring Sam Darnold or some of the run fits that we saw?
I did, Wood. I got a chance to hear from DeMarcus Walker, and I asked him about just like the pass rush this game, because it was such a emphasis going into this matchup against the Minnesota Vikings, given that this pass rush only has had 5 sacks in the last 3 games. They got Darnold a couple of times, but DeMarcus said, I think we did some great things, but I thought this was interesting what he said. We just need to get back to doing what we do best. And DeMarcus said that's going straight and being able to affect the passer, how we like to do it. I don't know if the Bears are running more twists and stunts up front. That's not making things as effective, but that's what DeMarcus Walker was seeing as the pass rush today. But also it's like just hearing from him, like last week, Montez Sweat was really down after the Green Bay Packers loss. He actually declined to speak to reporters today from what some of the photogs were saying. Like, yeah, he's just not speaking. But DeMarcus, he kind of had similar vibes, to be completely honest. He was asked, like, how difficult is it to keep a positive mindset when these types of losses keep piling up? And DeMarcus, like, it's definitely difficult because we've been through it all, and the year isn't even over yet. But all they can do is get ready to go to Detroit, and hopefully we can turn things around and win some of these remaining games.
And Nick, he was talking about the straight rushes. So you look at the past couple weeks, them not being able to get home with a straight rush was probably the reason why they're doing more games, right? Whenever you can't get with the straight rushes, that's when you work a little bit more games. So I think the proof is kind of in the pudding. What they've seen the past couple of weeks, they're like, hey, let's switch it up and run some games to try to get some pressure on Sam Darnold.
Yeah, so Nick, it's interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I find it interesting you talk about Montez Sweat's demeanor, not speaking to the media today, DeMarcus Walker kind of having the same kind of vibes, because on its surface the last 2 weeks, the Bears have fought. They fought all the way to the end, and it comes down to the last play of the game. But at the same time, there's a lot of veterans on this team, and the schedule, isn't going to get any easier the rest of the way, and the season is about done. And so how hard do you think it's going to be for this locker room to stay together here in the last month of the season? All the fans want to talk about the development of Caleb Williams, but these veterans, have bigger fish to fry in their career. So how hard is it going to be for this coaching staff to keep these vets locked in when all that's left is the development of Caleb Williams?
Well, I think it's especially difficult when you're not seeing wins at the end result of these games. It's always going to make things more difficult. So when you're seeing guys like Montez Sweat express frustration, DeMarcus Walker express that frustration, it's just the reality. Like, this is tough to kind of go through this. Like, I think it is tough. I heard you guys talking about, like, do you think this locker room is behind Matt Eberflus? At this point, like, how could you be? Right? Like, you're seeing the results on the football field. You haven't won a game since week 7 when we're all in London. Like, it is tough. And I know, like, got a chance to hear from Roman Dunze. He was a rookie in this. He acknowledged it's tough right now. And this is his first year going through all this stuff. So I can completely see how when you don't have the wins at the end of these games that you're fighting back through, they fought back to get to overtime and still didn't get the result they were looking for. It is difficult. So they're going to get tested, and they're going to get tested against a Super Bowl contending team in 4 days in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. And, if that game ends up like how it could end up in a complete blowout, then I really want to see what that locker room's like on the holiday.
Nick, breaking news. We're sending to Detroit right now. So you'll be leaving from Soldier Field to get a head start on covering the Bears. I have no idea.
You got to go to House tomorrow.
Sounds awful.
That's the point.
You, Mark.
Yeah.
You were talking some crap on the pregame show right when I left about ping pong. I heard about this, and now I'm on you. I lost by 1 point, and you're going to talk smack after I get off? I'm on you, Mark. Watch yourself.
2.
Was it 2?
Got to win by 2.
Okay. Hey, Nick, and you know what happened? When I played him, smacked them around. Who got the dub? That was the Minnesota Vikings today, and you were the Bears. You couldn't get it done.
Another blind squirrel finding a nut. But yes.
Whoa.
Blind squirrel. You need to slow your roll. And Nick, I said you were my best competitor. I also said you embarrassed yourself on the table on Friday.
I think it might be Woot now.
Yeah.
Woot, there it is.
Yep. Woot, that's one win. Woot, that's one win.
We'll see next week.
Stuff. We'll read
All right,
everything
you guys.
we got.
We all silly like the mayor.